Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to next episode number 4, Understanding Jumpbox and Bastion Service. So let me do a recap what we did so far. We talked about introduction, we talked about introduction to the cloud, Azure regions, resource groups, and then we talked about configuring virtual network, what is the best practices. So now, and yesterday we created one VM as well with public IP. So, and we already connected that VM also. That's called VM1 Jumpbox. So what happened when you deploy a virtual machine and if you do with the default settings, you will get one public IP. It means over the internet, you can connect this virtual machine with this public IP, which is okay for learning, but not for production environment. So as a best practice, we should not allocate public IP to virtual machine for security purpose, and we should connect all the virtual machines with private IPs. So, so how we connect Azure virtual machine with private IP securely? So we have a couple of solutions, and let me go to the Azure training diagrams and open one scenario, connect Azure VM securely. So I divide this solution into two parts. One is called within Azure, cloud only, and hybrid. So if you are working with on-premises in Azure, which is called site-to-site or express route, that I will cover up a separate episode on that hybrid. Today, let's talk about cloud-only solutions. So if we need to connect Azure VM with private IP, we have solution 1 and solution 2. One is called Jumpbox, second is called Bastion host. What is Jumpbox? So for Jumpbox, we need like a public subnet. Give a name. Name is not a problem. Any name you can define. And any virtual machine in this particular subnet should have a public IP. So red machine is having public IP, green machine, production machine, which is having no public IP. So you are sitting anywhere over the internet, you can connect to the jump box because we have a communication by default allowed between subnet 1, subnet 2, or subnet 3 because all part of single VNet. So once you reach to the subnet 1 through a public IP and then connect this through a private IP. So this kind of arrangement when you do, this is called Jumpbox subnet. In this, you directly cannot connect this green machine because there is no public IP attached to the virtual machine. So this is one of the workaround solution we called as Jumpbox. Let's do it, how to do a virtual machine without public IP. So now if you see, I have a virtual network. Yesterday we created and virtual network for recording, which is in the recording resource group. And we have three subnets. One is Jumpbox, where we deploy one VM with public IP, and rest subnet 2 web, subnet 3 SQL. So I'm going to deploy a virtual machine, which is server 2019. And recording resource group. So subnet 2 web machine. I'll do availability default 2019 v2ms, username and password. So RDP not allow because over the internet and a firewall, I don't want to allow any RDP. This is what normally we do in production environment, and make sure this is in web subnet and public IP none. So that's the main difference between my yesterday VM, which is in a Jumpbox subnet, where RDP also allowed and public IP is also there. Here, RDP is also not allowed and public IP is also not there. Review and create. Hold for a few minutes once VM is ready, and then I'll show you how to connect with private IP. So now once this is done, So if I go to the virtual machine, so we have subnet 2 web machine, VM1 Jumpbox. So Jumpbox have public IP, and my recording resource group, which is having a subnet to web, is without public IP. So I'll copy the public IP, which is Jumpbox. Try to do mstsc. So second machine, which is in the web subnet, don't have public IP, so I cannot connect with the public IP. So first I land into this Jumpbox machine with a public IP, and then we can try to connect with a private IP. So what is the private IP of my second VM? So go to the virtual network, go to my recording virtual network, connected devices. So it's 10.1 we are doing. So first subnet is 04, next is 1. So first valid IP is 1.4. So now from here, 10.1.1.4. Deployment is going on. So now service is deployed to my Bastion, and Microsoft release one public IP also. When I click on the service, public IP address. So we have one public IP also allocated to the service. So now if I go to my second virtual machine, which is a subnet 2 web, which is not having any public IP attached, I can click on connect and the third option, Bastion service. And then my username, authentication type is password, and connect. And this is the way web session can be initiated with the help of BST, Bastion service, and it used TLS 443 connection point. No public IP involved in that. Thank you very much for this episode and see you on the next one.